I'm in the best mood right now because I just got approved for one of my most anticipated releases of spring and summer 2025. It is a romance and I'm so excited, so hopefully I can fit it onto this TBR. I just got that email through from NetGalley and I just couldn't be more excited. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie and today we're going to be filming my favourite video that we do every single month, and that is picking my monthly TBR out of this TBR jar. So we've been doing this consistently, I want to say since December, so this will be my 5th month in a row of filming these videos and it's actually going really well, so I'm going to keep it going because it's definitely motivating me to read more, get through my physical TBR quicker. It gets me so much more excited about the books that I already have on my shelves, but I feel like these prompts are already getting a little bit tired and I would love some fresh prompts in this jar. So if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears. Pop them in the comments below and I will make sure to add them to the jar. I've got my cup of tea here. It's actually a new one. It's the Sweet Dreams one from Twinings and I'm not sure about it. I thought it would be a bit sweeter, but it's supposed to be like raspberry and passion flower, so I'm gonna give it a go. It just tastes more like vegetable-y than anything else. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, so if you haven't watched one of these videos before, I basically pick around 7 of these every single month, and whatever prompts we get, I have to find a book on my shelves, maybe one on my Kindle, that correspond to the prompts that I pick out. The first one's always my favorite because it's like so many possibilities. Okay, we're gonna go for this one, and the camera eats first. Female author. Oh, okay. We did just have International Women's Day last month. That would have been good for last month, but I do mostly read female authors. This should be pretty easy. I think that is the majority of my TBR. I do feel like this is the first month that I'm going into it not actually having an idea of what I want to read at all, and there's also no books in particular that have been like calling me that I haven't added to previous TBRs this year. So yeah, I feel like having the freedom of picking nearly every single book on my physical TBR is actually going to be quite stifling. There's a couple that I'm debating between. There's Death Valley or Milkfed by Melissa Broder because I haven't read either of those ones. Also The Burning God by R.F. Kuang because I told myself that I would wrap up that trilogy in the spring. There's also the NetGalley arc I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I don't know why this first prompt has stumped me so much, but I think I'm going to use my one Kindle pick. I've decided this new rule where only one of the books on these TBRs can be an ebook, just because the main objective is to get through my physical TBR. But I have pre-ordered this book anyway, just because like I said, it's one of my most anticipated releases, and that is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. So the official pub date for this is the 8th of May, but obviously as it's an advanced reader's copy, I really feel like I should read it in the month of April before the release date so I can get my review out. And obviously since it's come into my inbox today, I've just been so excited to read it and I kind of want to drop everything else and just read this. I also have a really great video idea and I really wanted this to be part of it, but I was kind of questioning whether I could because it doesn't come out until May, but now I can read it sooner so I can include it in the video. But essentially this book follows some of the characters from Every Summer After, which is still one of my favourite romances to this day. I read it a couple of years ago now. I got so swept up with it because it's basically told in 2 separate timelines and I love romances like that. So you have the characters as teenagers and it's basically, I can't even remember the names of the characters, but basically this teenage girl moves into this lake house next to these 2 teenage boys and their mum. She ends up falling in love with one of the brothers over the course of the following summers, and then the other timeline is them as adults, and it gets really tangled, really messy and quite sad actually. There's a really sad storyline to it. It really actually reminds me of The Summer I Turned Pretty, like what happens within those books and the series. So yeah, it's just a really fun summer romance, but it also packs an emotional punch. And when I heard that there was going to be a kind of like sequel but following the brother, I got so excited and pre-ordered it immediately, and then obviously I requested the arc on NetGalley and here we are. So yeah, I'm so excited to read it. I would just love to be reunited with the characters and kind of step into that setting again as well. So yeah, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune is our first book for April. Let's move on to our next prompt and hopefully find a physical book for this one. If this is what I think it is, I think we've had it before. So the second prompt is title starts with the first letter of the month. So we need to find a book starting with A for April. I've definitely had to find a book starting with A before for a different prompt, and I feel like that one didn't go too well because I didn't end up reading that book because I just wasn't in the mood, and I still don't think I'm in the mood for that book. So now I've got the task of trying to find another book starting with that letter that I want to read. Okay, that is an option. Oh, that's an option. Oh my god, I actually cannot believe I found 3 options that I'd be happy to read any of them. What? So our first choice is All Item Gifts by Caroline O'Donoghue. I actually got this as a gift from Isabel at Isabel's library, so if you're watching this, thank you so much. This is the beginning of a YA fantasy, or like maybe not fantasy, kind of like magical witchy series, which revolves around tarot cards, hence the really cool cover. So this could be a good option. The only thing I would say is that I'd probably prefer to read this in the autumn. I don't know when it's set, but it is obviously giving autumnal, like spooky vibes. Another one giving the kind of like a darker autumn vibes is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This was another gift from my friend Amy, and it's this really gorgeous edition. I actually don't know where she got it from, but it is so stunning. But yeah, this is the beginning of, I think, a 4-part series, and all I know about it is that there are 4 Londons, I think, kind of 4 parallel Londons. I think the main character knows how to travel between those realms. So this is set during King George III's reign. What is that time period? Because I'm really into my historical fantasy at the moment. I'm reading the Last Hours trilogy as we speak, so I've been really into that urban fantasy kind of parallel world, especially set in like London or England in like bygone eras. Yeah, okay, the Georgian era, that makes total sense, which I think is the Regency era, which is when Bridgerton is supposed to be set. So I have a feeling this is probably not anything like Bridgerton, but I do, like I said, love historical fantasy at the moment. It's definitely my thing and something I want to read way more of. So yeah, that is a fantastic option. And then we also have a bit of a wild card, I guess, not what I was expecting to pick up today, Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is actually the first book that I wanted to read by her, but I ended up picking Electra up last year instead. I love that book. I think I gave it 4 stars in the end. I'm so glad that I read it, but knowing what I know now, I should have actually picked this one up instead, because this is set in Crete and that's where I read Electra. I definitely wish I knew that, but anyway, it will be fun to read this having already been there and like knowing what it's like over there. So yeah, this is the story of Ariadne and the Minotaur. Ariadne is the daughter of King Minos. There was definitely a massive plot to do with these characters in Circe, which is one of my favorite books, and it was definitely a plot that intrigued me. So naturally, I think this would be a really good pick for me. I also think this would be a great book to read during the spring. So I think, having said all that, I'm gonna pop this on my TBR, because like I said, the other 2 are definitely giving more autumnal vibes, and having picked them up today, I actually feel like so much more excited about them, but I'm just a tad bit more excited about this one. So we're gonna pop this on my April TBR. All right, time for prompt number 3. Wait, what does that say? Oh, I thought it said feet. I was like, why would my feet be picking my TBR? Anyway, it's Instagram feed pics. This is a really fun one. I'm gonna scroll on my Instagram feed, and whichever book comes up first that I've got on my physical TBR that I haven't read yet is the book that we're gonna pop on this TBR. This is probably the most risky of all the prompts in the jar because it's just completely out of my control. But you know what? I feel like I've got faith in the people that I follow. So I'm gonna screen record so you guys can see what I'm looking at and pop it here. But yeah, we're just gonna have a little scroll and see what pops up first. Do not have this one. That is a proof. Oh, that would have been so good. The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I might be reading in April anyway, but I'm not going to put it on this TBR because I already have my ebook pick. So yeah, we're going to have to say no to that book, but I'm going to like it because cute. I read Piglet and I don't have Everything I Never Told You. I've read Boy Parts and I don't... Oh, oh, I do! I thought I didn't have On Beauty, but I do. Oh my god, I cannot believe I'm reading a Zadie Smith. I was literally thinking about which of my Zadie Smith books to pick up first, literally yesterday, so this is actually quite opportune. Set between London and New England, On Beauty follows a pair of feuding families, the Belsies and the Kipps, and an entanglement of doomed affairs. For those 2 clans, the personal and political confusions of our uncertain age are about to be brought close to home. But anyway, this is my signed copy. I actually met Zadie Smith and I was able to hang out with her for like an hour chatting with her while she signed, and then I ended up buying 3 of her books. I've also got White Teeth and NW. But yeah, this was just not the one that I thought I would read first. I was kind of debating between the other 2, but the Instagram feed has spoken and we're gonna read On Beauty by Zadie Smith in April. Absolutely stunning blue like floral covers so far. Let's go on to our next book. Okay, there it is. A book under 300 pages. I got this one in March and I read How Can I Help You by Laura Sims. I gave that a 3 star, so not the best, not the worst. So now we get to pick another book on kind of the shorter side. I feel like both the physical books that I've got so far are gonna be kind of like more serious stories, so I wouldn't mind something a little bit easier to read. I don't know if I'm gonna find that in a short book though. Usually the short books are the hardest hitters. I just don't feel like I have that many short books anymore. Okay, I think I know which books I'm gonna pick between. This is just gonna completely force me to pick up a Melissa Broder because these are the only options that I'm giving myself. Milk Fed and Death Valley. I think Death Valley is a little bit shorter, around 230, and Milk Fed's more like 280, 290. Both in kind of like general or literary fiction. So from what I know, Milk Fed is about a 24-year-old woman who has an interesting relationship with food. So it follows themes of appetites, whether that's physical hunger, sexual desire, or spiritual longing, which really sounds quite open and doesn't really give much away. I feel like Death Valley might be even more ambiguous. I don't even have a synopsis on this copy. This is a proof that I got last year. It says it's a profound, unforgettable novel of grief and desert survival. And I know that there's like a cactus in it and it's like trippy. I don't know if there's like a portal into another kind of realm. I feel like I remember reading that somewhere. I think I'm gonna put Milk Fed on the TBR just because it was published first and I have had it for longer. It's also interesting to me because I've just started getting into going to the gym and eating healthily, so it'll be really interesting to read this being on that kind of journey myself. Will it be triggering? I don't know. We're just gonna have to see, but I'm gonna put this on the TBR and you guys will find out what I think of it once I've read it. I really don't like that tea. Okay, so now we're going on to prompt number 5 and we're gonna go with this one. What? This is so weird. I need to update this jar because last month I literally got a book under 300 pages, then got a book over 500 pages, and the exact same thing has happened this month. What is going on? So yeah, now I have to read a book over 500 pages. Okay, brilliant, brilliant. To be fair though, I might have picked Chain of Gold for this prompt last time and I'm reading it at the moment. I'm loving it. So I'm not crapping on long books. Like, I love a long book. It's just I don't necessarily want a long book every single month. Anyway, I think I know what I'm gonna pick. So we're going to be doing what I said earlier in this video, which is finishing off the Poppy War trilogy with The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Yeah, it's a long book. It's a really long book. I feel like it could be the longest of all 3. But anyway, I love this trilogy so much. I feel like I can't say it's my favourite trilogy or series without finishing this book, but it probably is. So I can't really say much about this because obviously it's the last book in a trilogy. So the Poppy War is inspired by a lot of ancient Chinese history, and we follow this war orphan called Ren, and she lives in the countryside, but she doesn't want that life because her adopted parents are about to marry her off to this really old man, and so her only escape of getting out of that situation is to pass this test to get into a prestigious academy in one of the big cities. So she ends up getting in and going there, but in doing so she gets wrapped up in this huge war. Obviously it's called the Poppy War trilogy for a reason, but there's so much more to it. There's like kind of magic systems, and it's just this super political high fantasy that I absolutely adore. It's kind of the only really political fantasy series that I've gotten into so far, which has completely opened up my mind to reading that sort of subgenre in the future once I finish this one. But yeah, I'm really excited. I know it's kind of intimidating, but it would be honestly fantastic to find out what happens in this book after 3 years of reading this series. I think I've read one of these every single springtime now. We've got a real mixture of everything. We've got 2 relatively contemporary fiction, we've got a historical fiction like Greek retelling, then we've got a epic high fantasy, and not to forget One Golden Summer, our romance. So yeah, very varied TBR this month. I feel like last month was really dominated by fantasy, but this month doesn't seem to be so far. Let's see if we can change that. This is our second to last prompt. Oh no, I don't want to do that one. The prompt is spicy. I feel like I've picked this prompt so many times, like every single month, and I don't have just the spicy romance on my shelves that I haven't read. I'm gonna get rid of this one and we're gonna repick that prompt. Okay, here's our repick. Eyes closed reading journal. What did I want to do for that? I feel like I know. Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. I've got a whole spread of my unread TBR, like my unread library I call it, and it's literally got every single book that I haven't read on these shelves, apart from books that I've recently purchased. Let me go and grab my reading journal and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my unread library. Basically I colour in the book spines depending on if I've read a book or unhauled it. By the end of the year this should be at least half filled, like that would be amazing. So yeah, we're going to use this as a guide, and I'm just going to move my fingers like this, and whichever one it lands on we're going to read. I'm scared. Sad Girls. Sad Girls. Forgot I had that book. Okay, so I think this is like a YA coming of age slash romance, but maybe not quite romance. This is the debut novel from poet Langleaf, and I'm not gonna lie, I did pick it up because of the cover. School is out for Audrey, but panic attacks are just beginning because Audrey told a lie and now her classmate Anna is dead. I did not know this was like a mystery or like a murder mystery. I often like a novel written by a poet. I feel like there's a lot of focus on the writing style, which is a massive thing for me. So yeah, I'm super intrigued to read this one, and I really did not think we were picking this up today. And that is definitely the magic of these TBR videos. It kind of reminds me the books that I have on my shelves that I kind of forget a little bit. So yeah, this is actually kind of a great pick. That means that this is the last prompt of the video and the last book that we're going to be popping on my April TBR. So I'm going to give this a good rummage because I really can't stand picking the same prompts twice. Here's the lucky winner. Is that the right way up? Or is that the right way up? Pinterest picks my read. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to go and grab my laptop, that means. Unless I just do it on my phone. Maybe I could just do it on my phone. But yeah, this is so much fun. Like, I really enjoy these prompts. I don't know what book we're gonna get, but the first few pictures are all of the Hunger Games because I was trying to find an aesthetic picture to put on my Instagram story earlier. So yeah, we're gonna ignore those and carry on. Unless one of them specifically comes up, but it would need to be Catching Fire. Peter Malak. Oh. 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 Okay, I was on the wrong account and that's why nothing was coming up. So yeah, now books should actually start to come up. Let's see. Oh, I was wondering what was going on there. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Play it as it lays. Okay, no. Oh, here's a stat. Oh my god. I feel like I've read only one book. No, 2 books in the stack. I've read The Cruel Prince and I've read One True Loves, and I don't have any of the other books apart from the Sally Rooney. I might have guessed that this would be the one because I feel like this is in every aesthetic book stack, and that is Beautiful World, Where Are You? Eee! Oh my god, no. Oh no. This was so not on my bingo card. I mean, sorry, I love this edition though. Like, this is so stunning. I think I might have got this at an airport and spent $13.99 on it, so I should probably read it. I'm just nervous because so many people don't like this, but at the same time I tried reading Intermezzo recently, and or not recently, last year. It almost put me into a slump. Like, it just wasn't for me at that time. I'm sure I will read it in the future, but there was so much about that book that I didn't like, or it wasn't really for me. So who knows, maybe I will really enjoy this. I have to have that mentality going in, otherwise I'm not going to pick it up. I might end up loving this. I might end up giving this 5 stars. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Okay, so here is my TBR for April. It is so eclectic. I feel like including the Carly Fortune, there will truly be a book for each of my moods on this TBR, which is everything you kind of want out of a TBR. So yeah, I am feeling good about it. I'm kind of nervous about a couple of them. For sure the Burning God, just because of the sheer size of the thing, but also the Zadie Smith. I've never read Zadie Smith before. It is quite intimidating. And Sally Rooney, I just don't know if I'm gonna like it because so many people haven't. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see what I think of all of these books once I've read them. But yeah, that is it for this video. Please let me know which of these books I should start with. If you've read any of them, what your thoughts are. I would love to know. Since over half the books are blue, leave a blue emoji in the comment section, any blue emoji. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Love ya.